Hello, everyone. Robin here from the Good Place Bench. And I'm having a great time here at Utopian Hours, the international festival of city making. And it's also like, defining and figuring out what city making really is. And that we can only do that by connecting with people and listening to their ideas and solutions and, hopefully to empower you to do the same. So who do I have here next to me?
Well, good to meet you, Robin. My name is Mark Gridge, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Park City Foundation. And day to day, I run and support a lot of activity in London National Park City.
Beautiful. I, of course, already heard of the National Park City because it's already listed on our map of connection on thisisgoodplace.com.
Map, absolutely, yeah.
It's suddenly gained a lot of more value since you came on board. Thanks to our common friend Joanna to curate this initiative and to be listed on the map. So I'm also glad that we finally meet in person. But for those who don't know anything about that, what is it all about?
Yeah, so a national park city is really quite a simple concept, but I think an increasingly important concept, especially for how we shape and think of cities and live in cities over the next couple of decades. And in a nutshell, you're probably familiar with traditional national parks. National parks tend to be rural in nature. They tend to be the places that tend to be more wilderness environments. But the reality is, up until now, the only type of ecosystems globally that didn't have any type of national park protected status are cities and urban environments. Mm-hmm. But the fact is that cities and urban environments can be just as biodiverse, and in fact, more so sometimes, and incredibly important for nature, and especially important for the relationship between people and nature. Right. And that's going to become really important over the next couple of decades. So I guess about 10, 12 years ago, a group of friends and colleagues got together in London, and they asked a really important what-if question. What if we thought of our cities as national parks? How would we see the city differently? How would we experience the city differently? But more importantly, how would we change how we live in cities? What would we do differently? And what would we do differently to support local nature recovery, to create places where people and nature are better connected? And that's what we're building in London. And there's now 3 other national park cities around the world, in Adelaide in Australia, Chattanooga in the USA, and Breda here in the Netherlands. And there's about 10 or 12 other cities on the journey, which I'm sure I can talk about.
So Breda is the first Dutch city that is being called National Park City.
That's right. We recognized Breda as a national park city this time last year. Actually, last week was the first anniversary of Breda becoming a national park city. And again, similarly, Breda, and for those who don't know, Breda is a town in sort of southeast of the Netherlands, and it's surrounded by a national park, by the Van Gogh National Park. And Breda's already quite green and has a strong relationship with nature, but that isn't how everybody in the city has the experience. Not everyone has that connection with nature. Not everyone sees nature as valuable or important. And what they've done in Breda is using the national park city as a shared story and a shared ambition. They've been able to describe what we can do together to improve that city and make it a place which is better for nature, but also create the conditions where everyone every day can play their part in benefiting from that deeper connection with nature, and also just making the whole city a place which is a better place to live, a more pleasant place to live, a place where there's clean air and clean water and access to good quality green and outdoor spaces and waterways and so on as well.
And what makes a city a national park city?
I think fundamentally what makes a national park city is it's that shared commitment that it's one of these ideas that it only works if everyone is in it together. So it brings together your grassroots organizations, community groups, individual citizens, but also traditional environmental organizations, faith groups, art and cultural organizations. It's absolutely the city government has to be involved, your national government, other layers of your other sort of stakeholders, all coming together around a shared ambition for how, by working together, we can improve that city as a place which is rich in biodiversity, rich in urban nature, a place where people have access to that nature and can really benefit from all the myriad health and well-being benefits that come from spending time and really noticing and understanding what nature is around you. And I would say fundamentally, and this is also on a more personal basis, so I joined 4 years ago, so I wasn't around when the original concept came about. But really what attracted me to the story around National Park City was that real recognition that to solve the climate crisis, you really need to address the biodiversity crisis in tandem. Mm-hmm. And you could even go further to say that you can't solve the climate crisis until you solve the crisis of nature. Mm-hmm. You know, when you're, as you know, we all remember as kids, we had a very intimate, effortless relationship with nature, when we could access it. We'd spend time outside, we were fascinated by it. But what happens is we tend to lose that in our early teens. Other pressures come in, your school becomes a priority, it's much more challenging. And the terrible thing is many people never get that connection back. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's really a key driver of why it's so difficult to resolve the climate crisis. Because if you don't have that intimate connection with nature, if you don't understand we're all part of nature, if you don't understand how important and how much we rely on your richness and biodiversity, we're just not minded to act quickly enough to make the kind of changes and decisions at a society level or organization level and an individual level that are going to mean that we protect nature and ultimately make the changes that we're going to need to over the next couple of decades to resolve the worst of the climate crisis. Quite a lot in here, I think, isn't there?
Process. See, no space ball from hell. No worries. No, but it's more like, it's not a final result to be a national park city. It's a starting point. Yeah. It's a work in progress.
Yes, very much.
It's more a mindset and a behavior, because I'm quite visually minded. Yeah. If you talk to me about a national park city, I see a city surrounded by green and everything is already in place, which certifies it to be a national park city.
Yeah,
which is not the case.
That's not the case. I would say the best way to talk about it is becoming a national park city is not an award. No, it's not a medal. No. It's not saying this place is perfect or great for nature.
The cities love the city branding.
They do love their awards and city branding, absolutely. And you can still have that. We give that comes for free.
That's the badge.
You get the badge for free. But the reality is it's actually what's much more important is when we're thinking about how we address these multiple crises. Everybody starts from where they are. And the way to address these issues is to have a plan for what you're going to do to get out of this mess. And that's what we look for. We look for that there's a process has been gone through. Actually, the process we actually call the process, or we've encapsulated the process in the Journey Book. So the Journey Book sets out 10 steps every city can take to become a national park city. And within that, there's 23 assessed criteria that a city needs to demonstrate it's considered and has a plan for, and then they submit their portfolio of evidence and is judged by a group of its peers, and then ultimately is recognised as a national park city. But that journey is really important. It's showing that the city has the shared power, ambition and responsibility to address all of these interlinked issues with climate, biodiversity, food production, how we make decisions, how we make our water clean and air clean, how we encourage people to spend more time outside together, and really all of these associated ideas. We want to see that the city is using the national park city story and concept to shape a narrative for that place that empowers and inspires people to take that everyday action, really. So it brings all of those things together. So we often describe it as London is there's this place called London National Park City that all these incredible things happen in every day, where people are taking their own actions and taking actions together to improve conditions for nature, to enhance local nature recovery, to benefit from that health and well-being, and just to do the fundamentals that are going to ultimately lead to climate mitigation as well.
So it's rather a tool for municipalities to use and present to their citizens,
Yeah,
or a vehicle.
I would say it's you've identified the actors correctly, that municipalities and citizens need to be involved. Is much more of a shared endeavour. Yeah. This isn't about, I think actually fundamentally it's we really want the grassroots to really demonstrably be in the lead of this initiative. We often talk about, there's a great quote we always go to from Cormac Russell and John McKnight's book Connected Community, where they say the neighbourhood is a unit of change. And I just love that, because what it describes really succinctly is the individual action against the climate crisis is important but not enough. Society, policy, legal level, your institutional level action is critical but not enough. It's actually real sustainable change happens at a local neighbourhood level when groups of friends, colleagues, neighbours come together and have an active role in the long-term sustainability of the place they live and work. Yeah. And that's ultimately what National Park City helps promote and support.
Yeah, because then you see the immediate change in front of your doorstep. Yeah. And you want
that human connection, the intimacy, the you care about what's right there. And that's caring starts by seeing what's already there, what needs to change, and being honest about that. But then having the ambition and create the conditions for those changes to happen.
So who signs up to become a national park city? Citizens?
We've had every different form of application to begin with. Nice. Honestly, London was very much it was a group of friends who were drawn from the environmental and nature space. So they were already quite involved. Adelaide was a city government initiative that is using the status to more deeply create participatory, is a difficult one to say, relationships with their citizens. Yeah. Breda was very much a grassroots initiative, which is now becoming effectively a joint venture between the city government and the grassroots organisation. And Chattanooga, similarly, was started from the Parks Department, became a whole city government initiative, wow. And they're now using it to establishing a new foundation and putting the long-term governance in the hands of the local community. So it can start from different places, but ultimately all the different stakeholders need to come together. You can't really do it if the city government was actively against it. It's going to be quite difficult. Yeah. But
it also feels like you are the mediator. Like any initiative, wherever it starts, it starts with you and you helping them to continue that journey.
Yeah, it's we're there for support, advice. I mentioned it briefly, but in the process for becoming a national park city, it's a peer review. And what we do is we gather a collection of 12 peers, people from other national park cities, at least a couple of people who are either from that location or know the location well. And those peers come together and they do the assessment on the portfolio. And they're the ones who recommend that this place has done what it needs to do to be recognised as a national park city. So our role is to assemble those peer relationships and to provide the mentorship and connecting up the different cities who have that spark of desire to become a national park city, have been inspired by it, and then we can help them go on that journey.
Very inspiring. There's so much at the back end, that is necessary to make the needle move.
Yeah.
Especially the urgency is there. Yeah. Climate, but it does so many other things as well at the same time.
Yeah. And it's difficult. I mean, on a personal basis as well. I mean, it's really important to be joyful and celebratory about what we can do. I really struggle, I'm sure, as we all do. I'm terrified by the future in many ways. I'm terrified by the scale of the climate crisis, and I'm Scottish. I do not cope well in heat, and it was 35 degrees in London on Monday. That was horrible, So you're dealing with this climate grief and the worry of these big, impossible, huge issues we've got to grapple with. But at the same time, we all start from where we are. This is where we are now. What are we going to do next? Which direction are we going to go? And to have the motivation to do that, we need to be joyful and confident. And we do that by building that social capital, by coming together in our neighborhoods, by practically taking control of what we can control. Yeah, and making sure we're very vocal about the level of change that is required, and do what we can, and that's all we can do, I think. So finding stories, that I think there's some of what you do to find those stories and bring them is a key part of that. Showing these people are standing up and doing what they can.
Yeah. I was explaining that there was this advertising slogan, the more you know, the more you care.
Right.
And I think people need to know more so they care more.
Yeah.
And then be more involved in the neighborhood they live in.
Absolutely.
To start rolling up their sleeves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, Mark. I'm thinking I live in The Hague. Maybe we should become a
I think
national park city.
it'd be a wonderful candidate. Absolutely. I mean, arguably every city should become a national park city, or at least every city should begin to ask those what if questions, which is the starting point for change. It's like saying, well, what if we did this? Why not? Other people are doing it. It's entirely possible. And by asking those what if questions, you start to see more deeply what's already around you, and you're honest about what needs to change, and you can begin to take the steps towards that, whether that means becoming a national park city or whether it means meeting regularly with a group of friends and colleagues to do what you can. Then that's fine. We all start from where we are. I think I've mentioned that.
For sure. But it's also, you can think from top down that things are already in place, but if your citizens are not convinced or they don't know, then it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no one's coming to save us, So
Oh no.
so we need to do what we can in our own situation as well.
Yeah, but there are also a lot of other, despite beyond climate. I've been working on a documentary about how nature can alleviate loneliness in cities.
Right, absolutely.
I mean,
so critical.
That even is so important.
Yeah. It becomes it because it's a place where people can connect without too much pressure, without an expectation of commerce or transaction. It's kind of, you can just. There's some great work done by University of Derby and Professor Miles Richardson around the benefits of nature connection, and he goes to great lengths to make clear that it's not just about time outside. It's not minutes. It's not, I did 23 minutes outside today. It's a deeper noticing. You actually pay attention to what's around you. You pay attention to the changing of the seasons. You see what's there. You take time to stop and listen and sit and experience. And that triggers things on that deeper level. That's when you get the real mental health benefits, I think, from that. And especially if you do that together, that's even better.
Absolutely. Here. I mean, that's what I've been working on as well. And if it even becomes something that as a tool of prevention instead of a cure, it will save a lot of lives, I think.
100%, yeah. We're this month in London, for the whole month of May, we've been running the London Walking Festival. And as part of it, I've been walking the Capitol Ring with my Jack Russell Pixel. And he's been very, very good. He's struggling a little bit in the heat, but the Capitol Ring is a signposted walk. It's about 80 miles or 100 kilometers around London, and it links together all these different green spaces and parks and I mean, I've lived in London for 30 years, but just spending that, actually, we've done 13 sections over the month so far. We do 2. The final 2 are this Saturday and Sunday when I return to London. But I have rediscovered London that I kind of knew was there, but actually spending that prolonged time, just seeing how these spaces are connected together, so many beautiful experiences, and it's just by getting out and walking. And every day we've been out, we've walked with different friends and groups and people who've come and joined us, and it's just a beautiful experience, you know. And so the biggest question we have now is how do we keep going, and how do we keep those experiences continuing? But
A walking club.
of which there are many, you
Same,
know.
same like running clubs.
Yeah.
exist.
And how do you start a running club? 2 people go for a walk together, and you do it the next week and the week after, and then 3 people and 4
I
people.
thought it was someone else, a running club.
Yeah.
Now we're a run club, running
There we
club.
go. That's it. You don't need to ask permission for this stuff. You know, it's like where do we sign which authority?
You shared a message, and it's a shared passion for many others. And now we're 20, 30 people each Sunday.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's a great, wonderful group, the Reaction Collective, who they happen to be bringing lots of different groups together who work on repair and upcycling of clothing, especially outdoor gear. And one of their sort of mission is to find your people. You know, find the people who are doing the same things you're doing in the place you live, and that's where you start. You begin by finding your people, find your tribe, and work up from there. Really, you know.
I think I need your help to fill the good place map of connection.
We've got plenty more places we can add. Do you want to do that now or later?
Yeah, sure. Let's
That's
so
the homework
let's hit
for me,
let's hit
yeah.
the stop button first and don't bore people with it. Mark, I mean, wow. To finish off,
Yeah.
I mean, you gave already the answer, but it should be part of the format. Is what is a good place to you, or
Yeah.
how would you? What can we all do to work on a good place?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's, again, finding your people. Yeah, I think every place can be a good place as well. You know, it's kind of, it's seeing the joy and wonder with what's around you and starting from there. And that will give you a much deeper appreciation and value for nature and environment as a whole. You know, so I think that's, it's important that we do this in cities, because cities are where people are, and it's people who are going to solve this or are going to make this right. So yeah, that's what inspires us, I think.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And wishing you all the best with, adding more cities to the network.
Rotterdam should be a national park city by this time next year. So if you want to get involved with Rotterdam National Park. They're an incredible group. You can go along to the exhibition at the Natural History Museum in Rotterdam. Find out all about Rotterdam National Park. It's really wonderful.
We'll tune in back next year to find out.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Cheers.
Thanks everyone for watching. See the details below for more info about National Park City. Of course, sign up if you want your city to be one of them. And thanks again for your time, and looking forward to our next conversation. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.